Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, Life, Law, Bin. Now we're going to turn a bit now to what seems to be a buzzword or a hot topic as of recently, but it's so very important. And I know that you are one of the main champions for it, and that's equality and diversity. Now, before we go any further, I would have stated at the beginning of this interview that you are one of the recipients of the Women in Law Awards in 2020. Now, for those who are unaware about the nature of the award, what does it mean and what does it mean to you to have received it?
The Women in Law Awards were brand new last year, and they're there to celebrate the achievements of women within the legal profession on both sides of the legal profession, so solicitors and barristers, and also academics and researchers will sometimes be recognised. The Women in Law Award for Women of the Year was a category which included a large number of women who have done what they can either to raise women's issues within the law or to have represented women who have been accused of a variety of offences, or alternatively to have educated, inspired, encouraged women to join the profession or to remain within it. The people within my category are all and were all amazing women who had done huge amounts. And for me, I did not expect at all to win this award, to the extent that because it had to be done on a virtual meeting, they sent a little note out to all the applicants saying, would you please send us a video as if you've won, saying something, or just, holding your hands in a celebratory pose. Some of the amazing women who won other categories had clearly worked hard on this. They'd gone down to the beach, they'd made various cards or whatever, and they prepared these lovely videos to celebrate their achievement. For me, I was so certain I wasn't going to win that I got one of my friends at court to just record me very briefly, sort of going, yay. And it looked like this, all right, it looked like this. It was the most ridiculous thing. And so they recorded that and I sent that in, not worrying about it because plainly I wasn't going to win at all. And then I won and they played it. And oh, Lord, face palm time. And my children were watching on the screen with me and they all absolutely giggled like mad at this ridiculous maneuver that I'd created in short term. And it meant an absolute huge amount to me because before recently, I hadn't really won anything ever. I wasn't the first at almost anything in life. And obviously taking silk was a tremendous, tremendous thing for me. And then being a part-time job as a judge and being made a recorder. And then I was nominated for this award and I thought, well, that's nice to be nominated. And again, never thought I'd get it. And when I did, it was actually really useful because I knew that it would open doors for me to be able to speak, to encourage and enable women, particularly women from non-traditional backgrounds, mature students, those with families, those with disabilities, to believe. And so I've been able to use it to talk to a variety of groups of people who wouldn't have known about me but for that award. So I'm extremely grateful that they gave it to me. Don't know why, but I'm grateful that they gave it to me. And I've really enjoyed representing women in the law during the course of the last 12 months. It's been an absolute privilege.
I think I know you say you don't know why, but I can tell you from a third party looking on, I think it's well deserved. And I know why, because I see your interactions with complete strangers on social media, and you're always encouraging and inspiring persons to go on, and you even there was a time you even stated to persons they can reach out to you in your DMs, your direct messages. So I can see why, and I actually think it is well deserved. So
Thank you.
congrats on that, Mary.
Thank you, Leah.
Now, one of the buzzing questions: do you think that the bar demonstrates a true representation of equality and diversity at this point?
No, no, I don't. I absolutely don't. And it's not going to for a little while. It's not going to overnight. No profession does. It's it is beyond sad to me that this wonderful profession still has so much work to do. But the good news is that we are working on it. And for any student who wants to join this profession from a non-traditional background, you might say, this is a great time because we are reaching out, we are encouraging, we want this profession to reflect society in which we live. And there are all sorts of new initiatives taking place, which will encourage everyone to join. And everyone means everyone. We want people like you. We want people like me. We want this profession to reflect everyone in society. And it will, I am sure, provided we can somehow take a large eraser and every time groups of students are spoken to and someone says, you can't be a barrister because you've got an accent. I'd love, if I had a magic power, I'd love to be able to go in and scrub out that 2 minutes with my magic eraser, because that damage can be horrific. People will believe someone going along on behalf of the profession who says those things, but they're not true. You can have an accent, you can have a disability, you can have autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD, you can be physically disabled, you can have a neurodiverse difficulty, you can be from any background in life, you can be 21 and you can be 61. You might even be able to be 70 if you wanted to. You can have no family or a large family. You can be a carer. You can be a first generation. You can be anyone and you can join this profession, provided you obtain the relevant qualifications and provided you're stubborn.
Yep, resilience. Resilience. Um,
Yeah.
Definitely is a marking of this profession. Now, what do you think we can do in terms of practicalities to improve diversity? And it's important that that word covers so much. So gender, racial, sexual orientation, culture, age, neurodiversity, within the law. What can we do to improve it? What practical things?
Well, firstly, things like your podcast are a brilliant way of reaching out to students, aren't they? They're a brilliant way of people being able to access something by themselves when they want to, at a time that's convenient to them, to realize that there are all sorts of people who've got the title barrister. Secondly, we must be visible. So I could just be a barrister going around earning my living as a tier 1 leading silk. I don't need to tell anybody about my background because no one briefs me because my dad was a coal miner, and no one briefs me because I grew up in a council house. People brief me because of the talent I have, which I've built up over 30 years of work. I don't do it for that reason. The reason I do it is because I want to be able to be visible for people who haven't realized that they could do it. So, in other words, I want people to see me and realize that if I can do it, they can do it. And that is why we do everything we can, those of us within this profession with big hearts. We do everything we can to be visible. And so our Black members will do talks just about their experiences of being at the bar and being Black. Our Asian members will do talks about that. And then they will join together and do a talk about fraud, which has nothing to do with their backgrounds. We'll have Grays this year. I did a talk on being a mature student. I did a talk on having children and being a member of the bar. And we put these talks on so that students can see us and understand that it's okay. And to ignore anyone who says, oh, well, you know, you've got a family, you can't be a barrister. I've got 5 sons. They don't seem to have prevented me from doing it. So if you can see, then you can do. If you can see people, then you can do. The other thing I think every set of chambers should do is to redact applicants' names from application processes, to redact the university they went to. And by that means, they will look at each application with a fair and impartial way. Gray's Inn have worked tirelessly using a consultant, forensic psychologist who has an expertise in fair recruitment to ensure that we have a recruitment policy for scholarships that means it is entirely fair and equal and diverse. And I'm so, so proud of that. And chambers should do the same. All sets of chambers must do the same. And all people who are going out to speak to students at universities should only go if they've had proper equality and diversity training, so that they understand that they mustn't alienate people, because the profession should not be and must not be posh white blokes. Okay, that's not the future of this profession. We want it to live, we want it to thrive, we want it to develop, and it will only do that if we can inspire the next generation to join and stay. And that means making people feel welcome and being welcome to the family. You said to me earlier, I put a lot of things on social media, and I do put a lot of things on social media. And when people get their degrees or their postgraduate bar course or solicitor's course, I will say, welcome to the family. And I mean it. I mean, welcome to the family. You are welcome. And if you don't feel welcome, talk to me or someone like me. And if anyone makes you feel less than, you tell me and I will deal with them, because you have every right to be here and we will be better for you being here.
Agreed. And for the ultimate question, I don't think I could end today's interview without asking this, because you're a recorder and you're a woman as well, and we do know that there are some equality and diversity issues within the judiciary. So this prompts me to ask you that question as well. What do you think can be done to improve diversity within the judiciary?
Well, what I can tell you is, having gone through the Judicial Appointments Commission process myself quite recently, so 2017 or 18, can't remember. Having gone through that process myself quite recently, the Judicial Appointments Commission has worked tirelessly to make their application process fair. And it is a fair process, in my opinion. They don't even ask you what university you went to. There's not a box on the form for it. The application process is sort of it's examples and evidence-based examples and examinations, and they're marked remotely by people who don't know you. The boys club has gone, and if you look at new appointments, you will see all around a much more diverse and wonderful group of people who are joining the judiciary, both as part and full-time practitioners. And if you look on their website, you'll see people's stories. The problem is that it is work that they're doing. And so it's a work in progress. The background means that true equality, true diversity will take time. But I am satisfied, so that I'm sure, using a judicial phrase, that they are doing everything they can to get there. And they are recruiting judges from all walks of life, from all aspects of society, and from all areas of our profession. So solicitors and barristers, and sometimes academics. I know a couple of academics who were recruited to be full-time. It's ironic in many ways. I think the entry to the bar, entry to the law degrees now is more women than men. So there are more female students than male students. Doing the bar course, I think it's about 50-50. And I'm pretty sure that with all the work that Chambers and the Bar Council have put in, recruitment at the early stages of those who apply, seems to be right in terms of diversity. But it's going to take a long time to catch up, because there have been so many years when we didn't properly represent society, but we are getting there. And for anyone coming in, I think they should have confidence that their careers will and can succeed. There's no reason why not now. And there are all manner of networks in place to ensure that people are properly looked after. So it will take time.
Definitely, because I asked you that question because I remember there was kind of like a debate about whether or not there should be a quota imposed. I guess that was to fall under affirmative or positive action, to implement this particular quota of persons. I know some persons get offended by the categorization of BAME, but
Yeah.
no disrespect or offense there. But persons from other ethnic minority groups, I remember that seemed to have been a big theme, but I know some persons rejected it. And I was wondering, what are your opinions on imposing quotas within, the judiciary?
I don't think we need to impose quotas, because the applicants who apply and who are being successful fit those quotas without there being any. The difficulty is not, the difficulty really, I think, is educating and inspiring people to understand that someone like them can be. And that process is harder because we don't know why people don't apply. We don't know why people necessarily don't keep going with their applications to be at the bar. It's the people along the way that we're losing who create the difficulty for us. So I don't think we need a quota, but I do think we need a fair and equal procedure. What I do think more than anything, though, is that we've got to demonstrate to people in a way that is proactive that we are a fair and diverse profession. And where some members of this profession fail, to properly behave, it must be called out. And it must be called out loudly. And the sanction for such a failure must be visible in the same way that we must all be visible, so that people understand that it's not okay ever to put up with poor behavior of whatever type just to get a career. It's not necessary. No one has to put up with it. And that also applies to judicial bullying. So if anyone feels that they are being treated badly by a judge, there are now really great processes in place where you can anonymously seek assistance. And there are all these great groups now, like Women in Criminal Law, the circuit groups, the in groups, where you can get help. And you always should have a mentor, always have a mentor, and that person will be your person.
Well, thank you, Mary. This was very engaging and very informative. Wise words. I knew that would be inspirational from the beginning, but like always, you did follow through. It was excellent listening to you, and I do know that our viewers will have the opportunity to pause, resume, grab a cup of coffee, come back, take notes. So thank you very much for that, and thank you for coming and featuring on the channel today.
It's my absolute pleasure. I wish you the very best of success with the rest of your studies and keep shining, Mia.
Thank you very much, Mary. And for those of you who are watching, we'll be back next week with some more interesting content. So we'll see you around soon. Bye, everyone.